me the glow, baby. Both. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Thea and I'll be creating this glamorous look for you today. I create this look to go shopping, to the grocery store, because that's the only place that's open at the moment. But it's something that just makes me feel a little bit more alive, more motivated and ready to do something during the day rather than just sit in bed or watch Netflix. If you would like to find out on how to go from meh to yay, please keep watching. So I'm just going to start off with just cleansing my face with this micellar water. I love to start with a fresh blank canvas, and as you may have noticed, I have picked my skin a little bit, so I do have some red spots that I'll be looking to cover up, but not to worry, it will all work out in the end. I'm hoping at least that I'll feel less tired, less lockdown realness. A little bit of makeup does a huge thing for me. It just lifts my mood, makes me feel a whole lot better. That's my little trick for myself to get myself out the house, motivated and enjoying the day. Okay, so my face is all clean and feeling fresh and ready to moisturize. I will first of all use this Dermalogica Clear Start Breakout Clearing Booster. I just put it on my problem areas just to prevent any further breakouts and help my skin. I got a few little blemishes that turned huge because I picked them. So my advice is, if you can, stay away from picking your skin, because it can very quickly go from one tiny little spot to all of them came to the one's funeral. Okay, so that's done. I am going to use this Banana Bright primer as my base / moisturizer. So I shall do 2 pumps of that and put it all across my face. And you'll see it will add my skin a little bit of a sheen. It's actually lovely. Now that my face is all primed, I will move on to foundation. And today I will be using this Luminous Silk foundation by Giorgio Armani in shade number 2, which is the palest. I'm just going to pour it a little bit on my hand and just put it across my cheeks. I'm just looking for a nice even base. I love my skin being quite perfected, so I'll make sure that all of the little blemishes will be covered, but not with foundation. I'll be working with a concealer to get that job done. I love this foundation because it makes my skin look kind of, as it says on the box, luminous and very radiant. I just love the feel of it. It's quite lightweight. It's not too cakey. You can build it up. We still want glam in our life. My journey with makeup started off really early on. I always loved makeup since I can remember, since I was very young. I started off with skincare and I was making all these little concoctions. I was taking my mother's moisturizer and mixing it with mushed up strawberries and then putting it all over my face, and that was my beautiful homemade facial. Later on I have moved on to makeup, and you know, it was all about the blue eyeshadow and the pale lips. After that came the grunge era, you know, Nirvana and the dark eyes. So I'm sure, like most of you, I have gone through so many different stages of makeup, and I've done my makeup so differently throughout the years. How about yourselves? What kind of stages of makeup did you go through? Are you a 90s child like myself? Do let me know in the comments down below. So moving on to concealer, I will be using this Radiant Creamy Concealer by NARS, and that's in shade Light to Vanilla. So still probably one of the lighter ones. I'm a pale beauty. I will be perfecting my under eye area to begin with. I'm just going to put the concealer in a few places where I want a little bit more light, a little bit more perfection. I am quite translucent and veiny, so I like to cover up my nose here, and I have a little bit of a blue vein going down here, so I like to cover them up. So I'm just going to pat everything with my ring finger, sometimes my middle finger, if I need a little bit more, strength. But around the area of the eyes, you should really be quite gentle. That's the concealer almost done. I like to do two more little things with my concealer. So I will put a tiny little bit of it on the back of my hand, just for any spot concealing that I'll show you in a second. And I'll dab a few dots in the darkest part of my eye because I just want to get rid of that blueness there. What I will be using for a powder is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder Under Eye and Face. It's an absolutely brilliant powder. It has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's almost like a tiny speckles of micro glitter. So it's really beautiful and makes your skin really radiant. And you shall see, I absolutely adore Charlotte Tilbury and Charlotte Tilbury's products. To set my under eye area, and I always do it because I get a lot of creasing under my eyes and on my top lid as well, so I like to set it every time. So I will just pat in the concealer that I've added in the kind of darkest place of my eye, just to perfect it, and then I just powder that under eye area. What I do then is I would just pat in any kind of concealer lines there on my top lid, and again set that with that powder. So if anybody is curious about my accent, I like to call myself a citizen of the world because I've lived in so many different places, but I am originally born and raised in Poland, and then I have moved to the UK to finish my high school or A-levels, and then I've moved around quite a bit to France, lived a little bit in Czech Republic, and now I currently live in the Republic of Ireland, and I absolutely love it here. So if my accent is a little bit eclectic, that's because I've traveled a lot. Now that the concealer is almost done, I shall show you something I've been doing for forever, but now I can officially call it the Lisa Eldridge method because I've upgraded my method. In order to conceal any little blemishes and not make your face cakey with a kind of full coverage foundation and trying to cover it all up, I like to keep the skin quite natural, but just cover up any small blemishes or redness with a tiny little brush like this, and this is a lip brush. When I was young, I used to use the Rimmel white eyeliner pencil, and I used to just kind of paint on the white over the blemish and then just pat it in, and that was my pinpoint concealing method. And then when learning kind of the proper way of doing things through watching Lisa Eldridge, I started using the brush and a little bit of concealer. So if you do have a nose ring, then I always kind of go around the nose ring just to cover any redness in this area. It's just much easier, and it helps you kind of avoid covering your whole nose ring in makeup. And then I'll just cover up a few blemishes. I've got a little bit of redness here and there. When somebody is speaking to me up close, I just don't want them to know all my secrets, right? I want them to stay hidden. I feel the most confident when my skin is kind of looking perfect. I mean, I'm okay not wearing makeup too, but the perfected look just gives me so much confidence and a big boost. Whatever works. I shall use the powder to just powder my skin. There we go. I will be moving on to blush. The blush that I'll be using is the Benefit California Dream. I've had this forever. The color is kind of corally pink, and I really love it because it makes my skin look very fresh. I'll use kind of circular motions, and this is a blank canvas brush F04. I just really love the shape of it. So there goes the blush. Well, that's my blush done. So I shall move on to the brows. So I just bought this, which is the Brow by Benefit. I got shade number 4, which is a little bit too dark for my liking, but I'm working with it, and I'll show you how I'm working with it. I will work from the kind of a mid portion to the end of the brow, and I'm just creating a more defined shape, as you can see. And I'm just working with tiny strokes of the brush just to have a more controlled movement going for myself. So there it is, kind of that defined tail end. There we go. Be patient with this because it might take you a few goes. The smaller the strokes, the easier it will be for you, and the more controlled your hand will be. And if you make a little boo-boo, I mean, it's makeup, it washes off. So I've got this shape going on for myself. I shall move on to a pencil, and I'm going to be using this Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in Taupe. You can see that it's quite fine of a tip. It's very easy to create a nice little line, and it's a lighter shade, so like I said, it will create that ombre effect, which I really enjoy. So continuing with the other brow. I fill it in just a little bit with small strokes. I'll use the other side of the pencil, which is a spoolie, just to brush through my brows. And that's the brows done. Moving on to a little bit of a highlight, I will be using the Mary Luminizer. Looks like this. Oh, that mirror is a little grabby. Anyhow, and I'm using a fan brush. It's a Laura Mercier fan brush, and I'm just putting it on the high points of my cheeks, as such. And I'm going to put it on the top, above my top lip, and just on the bridge of my nose. There's your little radiant highlight. Oh yeah, I look so pretty. Next, I'm moving on to the eyes. I'll be going for a very easy eye makeup. I will be using the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize Marie Antoinette. This is kind of like a liquid eyeshadow. I'm not sure if they're still making those or if they kind of changed the branding of it. It's kind of just a standard shiny brown shade. I'm just going with it all over my eye, and as Charlotte says it, in a windscreen wipe motion. I will repeat the same thing on my other eye. I just use the same one brush for the whole eye eye look pretty much. I just kind of press my finger down on it to create a bit more of a line, and I'll just go underneath. It's just, again, a quick way of doing makeup. So there you have it. Shall use this brush to just blend it in all around. Shaded to perfection. Okay, that's the first step. Next, I'll be using some powder eyeshadows from Charlotte Tilbury. I'll be using the Dolce Vita palette, and I'll be using the Smoke shade, which is the dark brown shade. Just here, that dark brown shade. In the outer corner of my eye, just kind of pat it in to begin with, and then we shall blend it. So pat it in, and I will repeat the same thing on the other eye. I love these eyeshadows because they're so creamy, they're so blendable. So I'm doing that little pinch method again, just grabbing a little bit and just doing the outer edge, bottom edge of my eye. Now that I have kind of the outline created, I will blend it, and I'll use the same brush. So I'm just blowing it out a tiny bit, just to create a little bit of a winged look with just the eyeshadow. Quick supermarket glam, you know. I have an optional step for you, this palette, and that's the Legendary Muse palette by Charlotte Tilbury, and I will use the Enhance shade. So you see this palette is very well loved. I'll use that gold Enhance shade. I'll use it with my finger. So I will just take a little tiny bit of it and just add the gold reflux there in the reflex, not reflux, God, acid reflux. That should be a name of a shadow. What color would an acid reflux shadow be? Would it be green? I'm curious. So it's coming along together nicely, I think. Next up, I will be doing my lashes, and I will start off with curling my lashes because they're literally straight. So I'm using this Shuya Mura eyelash curler. So there we go. I'll give them quite a bit of a curl. Now that my lashes are curled, I will be using two mascaras actually, because I got this Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes mascara by Charlotte Tilbury for Christmas, but unfortunately, if I just use it on its own, it transfers below my brow and on my bottom lid as well. So I will use another mascara on top just to keep it sealed. So I just go from the root of the lash and I wiggle it up. The second mascara that I'll be using is a brilliant, super cheap mascara from Boots, and it's the Natural Collection Waterproof Mascara in black, and I'll just be using that on top and probably on the bottom lashes as well. There we go. We are left with the lips. We'll just use a little bit of a lip pencil, and I'm using the Rimmel Lip Liner Lasting Finish in colour Cappuccino 705. So I'm just going to outline my lips just at the edges. I'm not overlining, I'm just keeping it within the red border. And we'll look a little bit crazy at the beginning, but just wait and see, because I will pat that in. So there you go, the 90s look, but I just prefer it a little bit toned down. So I will pat it in, kind of smudge it in a little bit, just so it's not so harsh. And then I will be using a gloss, and this is Fenty Beauty Sweet Mouth gloss. And I'll be just putting it on top. And that is pretty much your finished look. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, this is my first video, so please be kind to me. I will be learning a lot more as I go along. If you do have any requests, please put them in the comment box down below. Give me a like, especially to support my first endeavor. Please follow me on Instagram at @nitrothea, and I will include all of the makeup I've used in the description box down below. And until I will see you next time, bye.